Welcome back to TW Garage. Today I have a carburetor video for you guys today. Taking off the carburetor off my car, and we're gonna give it a good cleaning while it's off, but I'll have a few parts I'm gonna add to it to hopefully make the carburetor just a little better than what it is right now. These here I got from Allstate Carburetor. Pull them out. They are the newer Holley XP fuel bowls. Okay. And of course I got the shiny finish. These fuel bowls have a few upgrades versus your standard fuel bowls. Okay, one being they have a drain plug on the front and back, so if you're doing jet changes or cleanings, you can pull that plug out and drain the bowls really easy. And they supposedly hold 20% more fuel inside the fuel bowl versus your standard one. Okay, and you'll look in here right about where I got my finger. There's a fuel shelf. When fuel comes in through your needle and seat, it hits this shelf and it helps dissipate the fuel and that is supposed to help it not aerate the fuel before it gets to the jets. When you start running a high amount of fuel through these needle and seats, they will actually almost foam the fuel, and then those air bubbles will get sucked into your jets. This here is to help eliminate some of that issue. I'm not sure mine has that issue right now, but I seen these and I had to have them. And of course they don't bolt straight on. It's not a direct swap. I have a few parts here that you're going to need to do the conversion, and I'll go over that when we get there. So we'll get started, and we'll see how this goes. As first things first, we gotta take the air filter off. See this? I recommend anybody with a carburetor get one of these nuts. It's got the O-ring on the bottom of it. It just helps keep dirt out of it. You'll notice when I take this off, my carburetor base also has an O-ring built at the bottom of it. Kind of nice little piece. Alright, it's never a bad idea to get yourself a rag. Put it underneath your fuel line, since you gotta be taking those off anyway. Sometimes a little bit of fuel will leak out. Oops. Another nice little thing I have on this carburetor is these nuts right here. They just take your 1/4 inch extension to get them off. That way you're not searching for tools or anything. All you need is your 1/4 inch extension. I'll show you that. Made by Joe's Racing. 1/4 inch extension just goes right there in the end. Nice little product. case of the dropsies. Pop the fuel one off. And then put this on the road. But the way this is set up, I have to lift that regulator bracket off there before I can take this fuel line off. There we go. And we got a couple fuel lines. There we go. Alright guys, we're at my table now. Sorry about the mess here. I don't have a whole lot of room in this garage. Get this set up. I know some of you probably have some questions about what the heck am I doing right now. This is my carburetor stand. Come in a pack of 4. Got these off of eBay. Some guy on there makes them. They're fairly cheap. I don't remember what I paid for them though. But when I got them, I was like, I need a nice place to put them so I won't lose them. So this here is my jet plate. What I did is I ended up drilling 4 holes in it so I can mount them there and I won't lose them, hopefully. So far it's worked. But what you do is you take your carburetor, you set them on there. It's easier just to get them finger tight first. Lost my nut. And once you get them on and snug, you'll have yourself a little carburetor stand. And you don't have to get them tight, just snug with your fingers. And voila. You have a carburetor stand. Alright, what I've already done is I already took it outside. I pumped the throttle on it to empty out the accelerator pumps. The carburetor was already empty. Last time I had the car running, I just shut the fuel pump off, let it run out of gas. That way seems to make the least amount of mess, because the carburetor is already empty. But it's always going to have a little bit of fuel left in it, so that's where you want to sit there and pump the throttle, and it squirts your accelerator pumps until the bowls are empty. Now the new bowls, like I said, they have a new drain on them, so you'll be able to drain them. I'll be able to drain them from there. Okay. I know some of you probably asking about the carburetor. This unit here is a 1050 CFM, and every piece on this carburetor I bought separately and assembled myself. So you cannot go out and just buy this carburetor as you see it. This is something I did. Reason I did that was because it was a lot cheaper for me to do, and I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could do it. And I've had this carburetor for quite a few years, and so far it's done pretty good. But you won't be able to buy this carburetor. And it might have some parts on it you may have never ever seen before, like these little vents. Okay, what these are, they're actually rollover valves. God forbid if I ever wrecked a car and the car ended up coming upside down, without these rollover valves, all the fuel that's in the bowls will run right out your vent tubes. Okay, inside here is a little ball valve, and if the car ever rolls over, that ball will shut off that port right there, and it won't let the fuel drain out. It's to help prevent fires. I believe I bought these vent tubes off of eBay again. There's a nice little addition there. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and start tearing this thing apart. Again, I'm replacing the fuel bowls with the new ones you see there, and there's a few parts I need to change. And then while I have it apart, I'm gonna give it just a quick cleaning, because last time I had this car out, it was acting a little funny. So I'm going to get started with tearing it apart. Now what I do is I take a nice little drain pan. Because again, there's always a little bit of residual fuel left over in your bowls. So it's still got a little gas in it. See what I mean? I know a lot of you are probably scared of these carburetors, but they're actually really simple. Once you know the basics, they're actually fairly simple. Well, I thought I was gonna get lucky. Still gonna have to give me a screwdriver. Guys, you'll find out if you mess around with these carburetors that non-stick gaskets, they stick, regardless of what you do. If you get enough heat cycles on them, they'll stick. All right. Tighten that up. Hey guys, here's my old bowl. This one's the new one. And yeah, I know you guys ain't, you probably can't tell with the float in the road, but here soon I'll be taking the float out of this one and sticking it in this one. But I can tell that it's definitely larger inside than this one. I'll also be taking off my accelerator pump. This one here is a 50cc accelerator pump. I'm going to end up sticking it on this bowl, and same with my needle and seat. I'll be switching all those parts over. There's a few other parts that will not fit. For example, your fuel inlet. On the new bowl, it takes a -8 AN O-ring fitting. Nothing else will fit it. Okay, so I end up getting a -8 to the -8 ORG, I believe is what they call it, or ORB. I believe it's ORB fitting. It's the one with the O-ring on it. I'll show you. I got the parts over here, and of course that means the other side also takes the -8 ORB AN fitting. Your factory ones, on the standard bowls, will not fit. Alright, now I'm just going to switch the 50cc accelerator pump from one to the other. And yes guys, I'm going to reuse a lot of my old parts because they're not that old. They're working just fine. And I have extras if something happens to fail. Okay, as you guys notice, there is a spring inside there. Okay, which will go on first. Big end toward your bowl. Here's your accelerator pump diaphragm. This one's fairly new. If this diaphragm ends up rupturing, it'll actually start leaking out the bottom of the housing here. So, but this was a conversion. The bowl actually came with the rubber flapper. Okay, that's how it gets fuel into the accelerator pump housing, and then when you hit this lever, it pushes up against this, closes this off, and it forces fuel out this little hole right here on that side. Oops. Why didn't you guys tell me? I almost forgot the spring. Alright, that's the 50cc accelerator pump. Next, I think we'll do the float. I'm going to take the float out of the old one. I could just gasket out on my road. Not sure if you guys can see it, but I gotta take off these two flathead screws to get the float off. Now, I'm not sure if Holley sells the bowls complete. I believe you have to either swap all your old parts or buy new ones. Alright, now I'm going to take off the needle and seat. I do have a nice little tool for it. You actually want to break that screw loose first, and then the nut, as soon as I get it lined up. Okay, then you should have a gasket underneath it. Oops. Don't lose that. Alright guys, I had a little problem getting that one out. This fuel they're selling us, as I know this needle and seat isn't that old. You see all this black? That's the O-ring. That ring's supposed to go in this groove right here. Well, it was completely deteriorated. Completely gone. I think that needle and seat's like just over a year old. I'll be putting new into that, in the new one. But I ended up pulling out the floats. Alright, now we can see the difference between the new bowl and the old bowl. Now you can see the difference between the two. Like I said, you may not be able to tell, but I can tell that there's a lot of volume difference between the two. They claim 20% more for the new one. And like I said, this shelf right here is supposed to help stop it from aerating the fuel so much. So, and supposed to help control fuel slosh down in this area. Down in these areas here, it's supposed to help control fuel slosh. So, yeah, we'll see. Alright, what else I need to change? Alright, I guess we're going to move on to fuel inlets. Again, guys, this takes different fuel lines. I got them. I already had to order those in. Get on my road. Right here is the fitting that they take. I ordered this from Summit. Hopefully you can see the part number, 26-184. It's a -8 AN O-ring. And of course I have 8 AN fuel lines, so you can also get this as a -8 ORB to a -6 if you have a 6 AN fuel lines. Now I'm not real sure if this is the proper way of doing it, but that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to put a little dab of grease on that O-ring. I'm hoping that will stop it from ripping the O-ring when it comes in and out. Okay, that's the front. So we're gonna make this the front bowl. You could plumb these bowls from either side, just like your old ones. Alright. Now to block off the other side, how about these for the other side? They're like a flush fit Allen head, and yes, they have the hopefully you can see that it's got the O-ring on it too. Bought these from, I haven't heard of the brand before, so I'm gonna try them out. Got that from Amazon, and right there's the part number, just in case you wanna. And again, I'm gonna put a little dab of grease on this one too. Oops. Looks like it takes a 3/8 Allen wrench. Also keep that out. And then for this other side, we're going to use the AN wrench. They didn't leave you a whole lot of room to get that in there, I'll tell you that. Alright, AN wrenches wasn't getting it, so I ended up getting a socket. Size of the socket is 7/8. Get that tight. Alright, move on to the float. We're going to go ahead and put the float in this. I went ahead and left it as a whole unit with the spring on it and the screws. This is going to be a little difficult to line up. One of my fingers don't really fit in here. Make sure those are tight. Make sure she moves. Alright. I did have to grab a new needle and seat for my stash. I come with gaskets, but I don't run those. I got the nylon plastic style, the reusable. This paper ones seem to tear. And again, I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on this. I'm not saying this is the right way, but it's the way I'm gonna do it, okay? I got a little bit too much on there. I sure slipped in there nice and easy. Probably means something's wrong. All right. plastic washer first. I'm taking the gloves off. Now you can kind of preset your float by flipping her upside down and cranking this nut in. You'll see it start lifting up on the float. And I've always went with that parting line. I want it just at the bottom of the window here. About there. In the middle of the bowl. And again, that's upside down. This is right side up. That's where your float's going to turn off your fuel. Okay. Make sure your gasket's on your screw. Now I've noticed a lot of people when they're messing around with these Holleys that they actually do this part here wrong. You should get a 5/8 wrench, hold the nut, break the flathead loose first. Okay, this flathead, if you look and see how it's built, the flathead screw here, when it gets tightened down, just smushes between here and here. Okay, you notice there's no threads in that, none whatsoever. This just slips on top. Okay, so when you tighten the screw is when it squeezes everything together, and that's how it seals. Okay, so I've seen a lot of guys that's been messing with carburetors for years. They'll take their 5/8 wrench and they'll break that loose first. No, break your flathead loose first. Okay. And again, you don't have to kill it to get that to seal. So see there, I broke the flathead loose first. Well, this might be stuck too. I'm blaming this new fuel. I'm blaming the fuel they're selling us. Yep, this one might be fun too. So maybe that's why she was running funny. The motor rings were either dried out or something. Yeah, see, it shouldn't be that hard to get out of there. I have a feeling that O-ring is bad in this one too. Yep, I see it falling out. It's gonna be just like that other one. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and steal the float out of this one also. And again, guys, it's just these two screws. I think I get them all the way on down. Here we go. Take it out in one whole assembly. You'll notice that this float here has got notches in it. That's because on the rear of the carburetor, oops, on the rear bowl, I have those jet extensions. Those notches are so it'll clear those jet extensions without the float hitting them. Tell you what, guys, this fuel they're selling us, look at it, it's actually eating the coating on the carburetor. Yeah. That fuel's junk. Too much alcohol in it. I'm just sticking my finger up in there, pushing up while I turn, hoping it comes out that way. Yeah. Here, did it to that one too. See how they ring? Everything's falling apart, literally in my hands. All right, so that's junk. Right. Now I have a 30cc accelerator pump on the rear, the 50's on the front. A little bit of gas in this one. Alright, there's my new needle and seat. I don't think I need anything else from the old bowl. Again, I'm going to put a little bit of grease on this. Come on. All right, and now put the float in last. Alright guys, I think I found an easier way to do that. Take the screws off, and you'll see down in here, I'm going to put the screwdriver on it. There's just little notches right here. That little rod right there goes into the seems to help line it up and center it. Just like that. If you push that up, your screws will line up. Sometimes you gotta hold your tongue just right. I'd rather have it a little low than a little high. So when I'm tightening that, all that's doing is holding the nut still and then cranking that fly head. Again, the fly head's what tightens it. Okay. All right. Now we gotta remember our inlets. Everybody, now comes the fun part. You notice I got safety glasses on because I've sprayed myself in the face too many times. After so long, you'll start learning. All right, so I'm not an expert. Okay, I'm not saying this is the exact way you're supposed to do it. Okay, I'm just going to show you the way I do it. Okay, and then so far it's worked for me. The biggest thing about cleaning these carburetors is get yourself some carb and choke cleaner. Brake clean will also work. You want something pressurized, and you just want to blow through each hole you see in the carburetor. Okay, if you got one that don't seem like it went anywhere, then it's probably plugged. Okay, then you want to either use this and some compressed air or a combination of both to try to open up that passageway. Okay, so I usually start with the air bleeds in the front. I got this in the drain pan here. Just to make sure she's clean. Okay. Turn it here so I can work on it. You see how all those went somewhere? These are your boosters. Air bleed. Oop. Okay. I think that's a blind hole anyway. Yep. I'm gonna blow down through my okay. it over. Blind hole. Alright. In the bottom here you got a few holes. That one there I believe is blocked off. Alright. That's basically it for the main body. I mean, you could spray all down through here and everything, but that looks pretty clean on this carburetor. Now I'll do it a little differently on the bowls. First you want to remove your idle mix screws. Okay, now it's a good idea to know where these are set. Okay, I set mine at 3/4 of a turn on all 4 corners, and that's where I'll put it back in. So if you don't know where yours is setting, make sure you check. And one way to check is to take your bowl or your metering block and count the rotations until she seats. Okay, for example, that's a 1/2 a turn. There's your 3/4. Okay, mine's set at 3/4 exactly. So make sure you take those out. Okay, now with a carburetor metering block, your fuel flows from the jet side to the back side. So if you're flushing it out, you want to go from the back side first, because if there's any dirt that got wedged in there, hopefully it'll come back out the way it came back, came in. And it's the same thing. Find a hole, blow through it. See how that one's coming out, the auto restriction. Just do it to all the holes you see. See how that one's coming out the bottom. That one there might be a little plugged. There it goes. Took it a second to get going. Or was it this one? I'm going to blow that out with some air. Okay, so I'm back from blowing it out with the compressed air. I don't believe I shot anything through my jets. I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. But everything with the air hose seemed to be okay. So we're gonna move on to the front metering block. And it's the same process. I'm gonna actually go ahead and put my idle screws back in. So that way that I know that they're in the same hole that they came out of. Now on your front one, you have an extra part, at least on most of these carburetors, called the power valve. I'm gonna make sure you take that power valve off. That's just a power valve removing tool. Makes it nice. Set that down there too. And same procedure. Find a hole and blow through it. Alright, I'm back from blowing out that second one with the air hose. Get that on my road. We're gonna start assembly again. Yeah, and guys, that's not a rebuild. That's just a quick cleaning. Other than those needle and seats, the carburetor seems to be pretty clean. All right, first things first, we're gonna put the power valve back in. Make sure she gets tightened. All right, now we're going to do our mix screws. I'm gonna go get me a different screwdriver. We got a last one. I'm actually going to set these a little richer than 3/4 of a turn. It'll help the car start when she's cold. screwdriver just came apart. Right there. Take his off now. Alrighty. Make sure I get each bowl and metering block on the right side. This is the rear. Need a rear bowl. Alright guys, one thing I did notice about the new bowls is it's hitting my vent whistles as it's getting pushed on. It's tight, but she fits. Give her a try. Alright, there's the rear bowl. And yes, I always tighten these in multiple series. Alright, we're going to flip her around. And yes guys, I am reusing gaskets. If you're not comfortable doing it that way, then by all means put new ones on there. It's the same one on same thing on this one. There's a little ramp there in the top for a vent whistle, but my particular ones slide in nice, but it just gets tighter and it goes in. Ooh, alright. The Jet Bosses is actually riding the bottom of the bowl also. So it gets wedged between these two. I'll show you. Here you can see a little mark right there. It's actually riding on that little bit of a lip right here, and then the top of it rides this. So just be mindful. bowls are just a little different. There it goes. But once you get it over it seems to hold it, so. Alright. Alrighty guys, she's back together. What you think? Now one thing that they did say in the instructions on these bowls is that you're going to need a 1/4 inch longer fuel line. I guess these 2 points here are a little bit further apart than the originals. It's not going to be a problem on my car, I don't think. But we'll find out here in a second. See if I can get you guys in here. Oh, looks good. Yeah, one of you guys, I'm sure one of you guys will recognize that this regulator is not supposed to be mounted like that. I'm the one that drilled these 4 holes out and got longer bolts so I can mount it from underneath. My air breather sits too low to have that mounted on top where these holes are right here. It was way too tall for my air breather, so I had to go up underneath. And then I was having a problem with being able to remove this bracket because of the fuel line right there. And with these new bowls, it brings it a little bit further out, and now it looks like it got plenty of clearance back here to pull that off and on, no problem. If you guys have any questions, please just leave them down below. I'll try to answer them if I can. Alright, last thing we need to do is check to make sure we don't got no fuel leaks, and then fire up, see if she runs. Any leaks, fillers? Oh, looks like my fuel bowls are about in the right spot. Alright, that looks pretty good, guys. Alright, fire in a hole. Well, there you go, guys. She sounds good. No leaks. Again, if videos like this interest you, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time I'm out here in the garage tinkering around. Bye-bye.